What a glorious day. Hello. Well, what a beautiful, beautiful day. So this is going to make these answers in little bits, I've decided, rather than sit indoors and maybe go through a whole list of stuff. So this is the first bit in the question and answers video that I promised you. And we've got a blue sky. Glorious. So the most asked question I always get is, do I miss travelling? Do I miss living in Ishi? Have I settled in bricks? Those sort of things, you know. And I've answered them, that sort of question, over and over again, really. And I suppose to clarify things, you know, I try and live in the now. So travelling was the now when it was the now, and now it's not. So I loved it at the time. Do I miss it? I did miss it, you know, but your life moves on, and my now is very much different. Bloody flies and gnats. Bo, come here. Come here. Just pop him on a lead. I can hear somebody calling their dog. Yeah, so to clarify how I feel about it now, not really the travelling life, but people asking me the question, I thought about this. I've had a long time to adjust. Long time now. But if someone's watching my channel, watching these videos, I make, on average, I try and do one video per week on a Monday, as you're probably aware. And it doesn't always happen, sometimes I get more than that. So I make 3, 4, 5 videos per month. So just say that somebody's been watching me for the past 6 months. That means if they watch every video, they may have watched around 30 videos, which is a month's worth of videos in 6 months. Whereas I have lived every single day for 6 months. Every day being in bricks and not travelling, not living in any sort of alternative vehicle. So I've really got used to it. That's in 6 months. So in a year, you know, 365 days I've lived in bricks. Whereas if somebody's watched every single video, they've probably only seen, you know, 2 months worth of videos, if that. And so what I'm saying is it's still quite fresh, isn't it, in somebody's mind. You know, it's like if you see a band, a pop star, singer, whatever, and they suddenly come back with a single, and you think, wow, I haven't seen them for years. And then you actually see them on the video and you think, wow, he's old, or she's old, or he's got fat, or Christ, I can't believe how bald he is, or oh, she's so grey, or whatever. And it's because the last video you saw, although it was playing all the time, so you feel like the last video was last week, the last video could have been 11 years ago, you know. I mean, I've had that a few times. I've seen some live bands. I saw the Human League, and I was so used to seeing their videos just everywhere, really. And when they actually came on stage, I realised just how old they were. You know, Philip Oakey, the lead singer, completely bald. Bit of ramblings going on. So yeah, that kind of surprised me. But then I thought, well, when did I last see him in the flesh? Never. So yeah, so if people ask, then I don't say, oh, for Christ's sake, give it up, you know, I've lived in bricks for a long time. Come on, Bode. Because some people may have only seen, say, 2 videos per year for the last couple of years, so they may have seen a week's worth of videos, and when they ask, it's perfectly valid. But no, I don't miss travelling at all. I did do in the beginning, but that was in the beginning. I've been in bricks a long time now. You know, it's my new way. Just trying to think, it's 2023 now, isn't it? So I've been in bricks since 18. So 5 years. So basically, I've been in bricks longer than I was travelling. Because I think I was travelling just over 4 years or something like that. So, yeah, I'm sure it's now... I never thought about that, but yeah. So perfectly used to being in bricks. It's just... And because it's now, it's today now, I'm perfectly used to living in the now and being in the now and accepting the now. You know, so this now is where I live. That's it. Where's my old dog then? Hello, come on, mister. You coming up here? Hello, hello. Okay, so another question was from my lovely friend Trev. His channel is called Posh Cats Camping. Posh Cats Camping. Now Trev asked me, did I enjoy school? I have covered this sometimes in videos, how I feel about the education system, but he said, did I enjoy school and what was my best and worst experiences? It's funny, the fact that I got into teaching for so many years after a really poor experience in the education system. Now, I saw very early on, I'm a step away from people, right? I'm a step out of the mould. We have to accept that. Nothing I can do about it. I am who I am. I cannot be the same as everybody else. So I saw very early on, this boy, he's very brave. He hated bridges at one stage. Hello, Bowie. Come on then. Come on, boy. So I saw very early on that what school was a sausage factory. They wanted everybody to look the same, to be the same, to think the same, to do the same. We were all set the same tasks. We were all set the same exams. And the whole system is absolutely ridiculous. It really is. I saw a little cartoon thing years ago. Always reminded me of school and exams in particular. And it was this teacher saying to these 3 animals, okay, you've done really well and you're all about the same. So there's just one last thing and then I can give you your grades. And all you've got to do is quickly climb this tree up and down. And 3 students were a tiger, an ant and an elephant. And there's a lot in that. Because that's what school expects you to do. And some of us are tigers, some of us are ants, and some of us are elephants, and we cannot do it. But you only get one chance. The school has decided, or the education system rather, has decided this is what you must do, and that's the end of it. Whether you like it or not, whether you're any good at it or not. Now, what school does, what education system does, is they eradicate free thinking. They eradicate and get rid of individualism, If somebody's good at doing something, it gets ignored, especially if it's slightly left of centre, you know, if it's a slight curve. Come on, Bodie, let's go, man. Because they want everybody to do the same, think the same, and be the same. Dress the same. Put their hand up. Can I go to the toilet? Write a letter in. Can I have the day off school? Beg and plead. I've got a dentist appointment. Ask your teacher, please can I not do PE today? I've hurt my foot. Well, have you got a letter from your parents? No, I've only just hurt my foot. Well, get changed. Wow. No, my experiences at school weren't very happy, I have to say. I had some good times, of course I did. I got some good mates, and I don't ever see them, obviously, but you know, my life is about the now, as I said, really. Yeah, it's a funny thing, really. The best things about school was getting friends, making new friends from a new place, from a town. I lived in a village, they lived in a town, so their life experiences, although they were 10 or 12 or whatever, were very much different than mine. And that was good. I went and stayed at some of their houses, and we used to go swimming, either in the river or in a place called the Old Jail, which was Abingdon, the Old Jail Leisure Centre, which is now apartments. And blue sky. Sad to say, really thinking about it, that was my best experience of school, was just meeting. Anyway, worst experiences were the teachers who couldn't teach, and I had a number of them. Get your books out, copy page 12. Oh yeah, that's really going to help. Anyway, I could go on all day, really. School is a sausage factory, whether you agree or not. That's what it is, because they do want to produce somebody who can live an ordinary quiet life in the middle of a town, buy an extortionate priced house and go to work and don't complain and pay their taxes and die. That's what they want, that's what they need, and that's what they get. Yeah, to a degree. They didn't get it with me because, you know, I don't feel that that's me. And I'm no better or worse than anybody else, but I just felt that that wasn't me. Didn't feel appropriate, didn't feel right. I just wanted more. So the outcome was, well, the worst experience then is that I left school a belligerent, horrible, nasty little bastard who refused to take their tests, their exams. So basically, I left school with no qualifications. So that was the worst thing. However, the school failed me because rather than pushing me, rather than talking to me, rather than trying to assimilate me in the school atmosphere, they just let me go and thought I was sod him. Same as they did to loads of my friends, loads of other kids. And yeah, so I left school with no qualifications, which meant my life was then mapped out to a degree, and you do a series of shitty old jobs, and that's it for life. Well, again, that wasn't going to be my life. I wanted to do something more than what I was doing and what all my friends and everybody around me was doing. So I worked in a factory, worked in a warehouse, worked at Tesco's, worked as a dustman, I even worked on a farm, and I'm not a job snob at all, but I worked in lots and lots of jobs, and they were all pretty much the same. Dead end, if I'm honest. And I wanted something more, something different, something better. How'd you get that? when you've got no qualifications. So, cut a long story short, I really thought about my life. And I thought, again, I'm not cut out to do this, I don't want to say menial tasks, you know, because, you know, somebody's got to do them. And when I was doing them, I was enjoying them to a degree, you know. But I wanted something more. And it hit me that I wanted to teach after my terrible experience. Look at this. Blue skies. Yeah, after my terrible experience really with the education system, I then thought about becoming a teacher. Can you believe it? So I had to pass all my exams, which I did. The environment was different. It wasn't school. And the training seemed to go on and on and on, and I got various things, petals, dettles and settles. This is in lifelong teaching. I got a teaching degree and various other things, which I'm really happy about, really proud that I managed it, and shocked and surprised that I bothered. Yeah, I know. So yeah, the worst thing about school was being failed. That's the truth. The worst thing about school was seeing my friends being failed. I had a neighbour, this sums it up really, but I had a neighbour called Chris years and years ago, and that guy, what he didn't know about car mechanics, he was amazing. He could listen to your engine and say your pointer out or something. I know nothing, but you know what, that guy could hardly read or write, and he was just failed all his life. And he had such a knowledge, such a wisdom, such a talent, absolutely amazing. And there was a guy I worked with, and you've never seen an artist like this guy, never. He was, well, he couldn't read or write, and when I tried a couple of times with certain words, and he was something more than dyslexic, whatever that may be, and he really struggled. But you know what, you give him a paintbrush, a pen, anything, God, he could draw. He was amazing. And because he was classed as thick, I suppose, he got conned. He was telling me the Hells Angels for some reason wanted to see him, and he met up with them, and they wanted their tanks of their motorbikes sprayed with, you know, naked women and leopards and things. So he taught himself how to spray. This is what he was like. Very, very clever. And he did their bikes, and you know, when he said it's going to have to cost whatever, they said, well, we're not fucking paying that. And he said, well, you know, the paint and everything else has cost me this. So they paid him kind of cost, or just under cost. So it ended up costing him money. So he stopped doing it. And anyway, it's really, really sad. But the school failed him, totally failed him. That's how it is, I'm afraid. Still is. I've seen it myself. So it's rubbish, school. And what is the last thing, just to end this, I've said this before as well, but what is intelligence? What is it? Well, intelligence is one thing only. It's memory. Big deal. So if you've got a good memory, you're intelligent. If your memory is poor, you're thick or stupid or lazy or disruptive or whatever it may be. In fact, I remember what I said in the video. So I said, if you've got somebody in front of you, a child, and you tell them that the capital of France is Paris, you tell them that. So remember this, the capital of France is Paris. And in a month, 6 months, whatever, you say Johnny, what's the capital of France? And he thinks, oh, teacher told me this. Oh, I remember, teacher said it was Paris. Oh, God, he's so intelligent. He really is bright as a button. And then we go to the other person, George, because he did the same with George. And you say, George, you know, what was the capital of France? And George says, oh God, the teacher told me this about 6 months ago. God, I can't remember. Did it begin with a D or a P? Was it something like Darius? Yeah, I'll say that. I think it was Darius. So, God, you're thick. You don't listen. You're stupid. So, intelligence is just memory. So, is there such a thing as intelligence? Actually, probably not. There's a lot of stuff. There's wisdom. There's an acceptance of knowingness, where we just feel that we know things. There is memory, as we've just discussed, and you know, there's several other things as well, really. Things like common sense, you know, your aptitude, your application to a problem or a scenario or a situation, and you know, your problem solving perhaps comes into it, and things like that. So there's several things, and I suppose they're all intelligence, or none of them are intelligence. I have no idea. But really, come here, Bo, please. Come here, my love. Come on, I could hear a car. Let's see. There you are, and there's the car. There's the old Royal Mail. Anyway, thank you, Trev. I don't know if I've answered that or not, because I wasn't listening. But yeah, basically, what was my schooling like? It wasn't very good, if I'm honest. It's a surprise, you know, I was a bit naughty. I was a little bit disruptive. And rather than dealing with that situation, they kind of shoved me aside a little bit. You know, I wasn't one that sat at the back of the class, but I was shoved aside a little bit. Bode, please don't lick. And it got worse as I got older. My mum left home to get a divorce when I was 12, and I really missed her. And my schooling went to pot. So did my attitude, my my everything. And I was a little bugger, and the school never dealt with it at all. Couldn't care less. I spoke to one teacher about it, and nothing happened at all. Nothing, sadly. What do you do? What do you do? It's terrible. You know, I think schools are better now, and I think education system is better now. And maybe that's just me thinking, maybe I'm hoping. But basically, I think I was failed, and I think most people are. I think if you shine in some direction, they don't want it. And if you do the opposite of shining, they don't want it. Because, as I say, it's a sausage factory, and they want everybody the same, really. If I could have gone to school, dressed the same, thinking the same, being the same, acting the same, doing the same, and my memory was midway. I've got quite a good memory, and I can remember even a conversation or a word or a phrase or a song, your lyric or anything, whatever, from 10, 20, 30 years ago. So my memory is pretty good most of the time. Does that mean I'm intelligent? No, it doesn't at all, not in the slightest. What it means is I've got a bit of a good memory. Well, that's marvellous. But I didn't stand out at school in any way, apart from, I suppose, the wrong way. You know, being a little bit belligerent, naughty. I enjoyed all that. Anyway, so that was that. So I think school failed me. My worst and best, you know, there wasn't a lot of best really, apart from just meeting my mates and what have you. And the fact that I saw the school failing, not just me. It's not really about me. I saw the school failing many kids. I thought if I was a teacher, I would see that they're good at doing this or good at doing that. I mean, some may have been, whatever, excellent sportsmen, but they played up in class because they were struggling really, reading and writing. Well, how is that teaching? That's what I say about teachers, you know, they're crap. I was a pretty good teacher. I have to blow my own trumpet. Thank you for the question, Trev. Posh cats camping. Cheers. Come here, Bode. Okay, shortish one, question and answer, and this is from Emily. I don't know if you want, I won't say your surname, from Emily, and she says, I find it really interesting when I talk about Christmas, but particularly not doing Christmas. And she said she loves Christmas and it's the best time of year, and she just doesn't understand it and cannot understand it. So, could I elaborate? No, Emily, I can't. I cannot, because we will never come together on this. If you love it, if it's your passion, if it's your thing that ignites your fire in your soul, it's the thing that gets you through winter, if it's connecting with people and loving your time with your family and spending money and eating all that food and doing whatever you're doing, if it's that important to you, and it sounds like it is, you will never ever get the other side of it. Never. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine. For me, in truth, I don't fully understand what you get out of it because of the way that I am, and we will never come together over this. So the way that I am is, it's an expense that I can do without. It's a silliness that I can do without. It's a falseness and a pretense that I can do without. And that sounds nasty, but I've seen it all over. People pretending to get on with certain family members, or they go to work and they buy a Secret Santa for some old bastard that they can't stand, you know, and it goes on and on and on. And just eating and eating and eating. If that's your pleasure in life, then that's great. Getting pissed all the time, having nonsense conversations, buying rubbish for people, receiving rubbish in turn from people, struggling to pay bills, to go around the shops, and you're struggling with your heating. It's a cold season, and do you know what? It's there's not a lot that I would ever enjoy about Christmas. I used to enjoy it when I was a kid. I think I loved it. I think I really looked forward to it. But I was a kid, and right or wrong, I still believe that Christmas is for kids. How can it not be? It's full of sparkles and everything's glam. You know, you've got grown men dressing up in, come here, Bode, in, I don't know, whatever, a red Santa's outfit, you know, with a sparkly hat or flashing lights at the window, or it's very camp, it's very silly, it's full of tinsel, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. If it's 1972 and your name is Mark Bolan, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it if you're 7, but I'm not 7. So for me, it doesn't work. I don't get it. I don't celebrate it. I will never celebrate it, not now anyway, because I haven't celebrated Christmas for, I suppose, 30 years. It's a long time, isn't it, really? Yeah, maybe even over 30 years, I don't know. So Christmas isn't for me, but if it's for you, I'm really pleased that you found something that enriches your life, something that you can spend your time and efforts and everything else on. That's a wonderful thing. I mean, some people spend their time and efforts on, you know, summer holidays, perhaps. Maybe that's their thing, or I don't know, whatever. Volunteering at the local kids' home, you know, chopping down trees in the woods for somebody. I don't know. Whatever you find in life and it works for you, then that's wonderful. The only thing I would say is we should be able to, and we can't because, you know, of a lot of bloody reasons, we should be able to accept and appreciate everybody's foibles, quirky ways, weirdnesses, strangenesses, their opinions, their thoughts, their ideas, their quirky, crazy, whatever. Or just the fact that they do something different to me. And I really try and do that. You know, if you love Christmas, then you love Christmas, and good for you, and I'm really pleased for you. But I don't love Christmas, so I don't do it, and I don't celebrate it. And I've had some really nasty negative comments over the years. Not that I'm bothered, but what business is it of anybody's? It's crazy. And of course, with the COVID and all that, you know, if you didn't take the vaccine, which I didn't, so I've been called an anti-vaxxer. No idea what that means, but thank you very much anyway. I don't wear a mask, so I've been called a spreader. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. And we should all accept people's way. If you've had 12 injections, good for you. If you feel that helps you, good for you. If you wear 9 masks and mumble in the street, good for you. You've got to do whatever you've got to do in life. So no, Emily, I can't tell you any more than what I've already said over the years. I don't celebrate Christmas because it doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel right. I'm also a Buddhist, and the thought of waste doesn't sit very comfortable with me. The thought of struggling, which some people do, doesn't sit comfortably with me. And I have enough in life. You know, for me, really, if I can breathe fresh air, that's nearly enough in life. If I can wake up each morning, I'm blessed. You know, if I've got a roof over my head, a bit of food and some liquid to drink, that'll do. You know, do I need, you know, a new book or a new pair of shoes? I don't think so. But anyway, thank you anyway. Cheers. Hello. Well, we're indoors today. This is another Q&A, another part of the Q&A. Reason why we're indoors is it is 24.6 degrees indoors. 24.6 degrees indoors. So imagine what that is outside. I mean, I'm flagging here. I'm really hot. So if I melt away, then you'll understand. So I thought I would do 1 or maybe 2 questions indoors rather than bimbling through the woods, you know, in the heat. Also, I have somebody who's broken the rules, and he's cheated a little bit by asking me a number of questions. Wonderful man. His name is called Sandy. Hold on a sec. Just realised if I move closer, then you can't see me. Right. How's that? That's a bit better, isn't it? Okay, so I've got my glasses on, so I've got a Slurpee on the go. See, I am prepared. Cheers. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so, yeah, Wiltshire Man on... There's a fly now. Wiltshire Man on YouTube. So Sandy says... well, first of all, it says, happy 26, and then in brackets for some reason, 61. Birthday, Bri. So here's his questions. So, question, and now I get a text. Oh, I'm so busy. I'll tell you what, this goes off twice. If I don't answer it, or at least look at it, then it goes off again. So that's to read. So he says, this is Sandy, how can I retire at 25 3/4? Now what he's getting at is, I retired when I was 48, I retired. But Sandy would like to retire now, it sounds like, really. Well, Sandy, I thought you were retired. You don't go to work, you work from home, you produce your knives. Is that not being retired? It's all how you think about it, mate, isn't it, really? Okay, how to retire early. Somebody in your position, and there's a lot of people out there that are in a similar position, is to downsize. I don't know your living situation really, but if there's just you and your missus and the dogs, then that's great. If there's you and the missus and the kids, slight problem, but they're not kids anymore. So what you got to do, number one, kick them out. So you got a nice pair of boots on, oof, and out they go. Now there's just you and your missus and the 2 dogs. So you can now downsize. So I don't know what you've got, 3-bedroom house maybe, or 4. We say it's a 3-bedroom house worth X amount of pounds. If you downsize, you could buy a little bungalow with a work shed, work garage, work something, or build something to continue to do your knives. Just give yourself something to do really, but you wouldn't need to work at all. The income that you get from YouTube, that's a bit of a passive income, so that's good. And if you produce the odd knife or whatever, that's a bit of a passive income, so that's good. And if you do anything else, if somebody says to you, you couldn't give me a day's labour or half a day or whatever, or you couldn't give me a hand on this job just for the weekend, if you want to do it, that's passive income. And anything else that comes your way, anything else that you can think of, is not working as such because it's just passive. So in other words, it's every now and then. And that's what I do. I've, over the years of, if you've watched this channel over the years, you'll have seen that I've worked for, I'm not going to name the companies, but I've worked for a couple of different companies, a couple of big charities mostly to do with mental health and various things. I've been lucky because I've earned some money by working part-time, some sort of reasonable money for working part-time. And that's, as far as I'm concerned, it's kind of a bit of a passive, call it ambient, if you like, ambient work. Much the same as every now and then I may sell a book. I may sell a piece of art. I get a little tiny bit from YouTube. I mean, looking at my numbers and your numbers, I get maybe 200 views if I'm lucky on a video. You get a lot more. So in theory, your income from YouTube should be reasonable, So I think you can retire, just downsize, flog a lot of your stuff, keep your 17th century clocks, ding, ding, keep the things that you love. And spend your life now on your passions rather than on your income, because you're not a slave to the wage. Don't need to be. Right, so anyway, yeah, you do what you like, really, Sandy. If there were more brides in the world, would it be a better world? No. No, it wouldn't. Anything that becomes the norm, if there's a lot more brides, you see them all over the place, it becomes the norm, it becomes nothing very special. And I believe we're all special, all of us, all in our own ways, and we all bring whatever we bring to the table. And if there were more brides in the world, would it be a better world? No. No. We need a bit of uniqueness sometimes. Okay, question 3. If the previous answer was yes, well, it wasn't, so we can skip this one, but let's carry on reading. If the previous answer was yes, then would everyone be wearing colourful clothes and would everyone be more caring? Well, people can wear whatever they like, can't they, really? You wear whatever you want to wear, whatever you need to wear. I don't say need, do I? Whatever your soul needs. I wear what I wear to project something. I don't know quite what I'm projecting, probably that I'm a bloody clown. I mean, what am I wearing today? But could you imagine you wearing this in the woods? It's ridiculous. In the woods you need, what do you need? A green cap, brown jumper, black trousers, whatever, green gloves, leaf coloured, whatever. Anyway, so yeah, we all do whatever we do, but I don't need to answer that question. Oh yeah, I think we should all be more caring, all of us. Doesn't matter what we wear, who we are, and if there's more brides, well, You know, no is the answer about more brides, but actually we should all try and be a little bit more caring, more understanding, more compassionate, more considerate, more loving. That's what we should try and do in our lives. We're here on this planet to help other people, not really help ourselves. We got it wrong, you see. Everybody, they go to school, they try and get good grades for themselves so they can get a good job and earn good money for themselves, and they buy a house and a speedboat and all that for themselves, and they walk past a homeless man on the street, you know, and it really should be the other way around. It should be that we're here for others, so we should be more caring, all of us. If there were more brides, then would they make good builders and handymen, or would they just be hanging beautiful artwork in the trees? Just be hanging beautiful artwork. If there were more brides, would they? Do you know what? The world would collapse if there was more brides. I can't mend a bloody car. I don't know what an engine does. No idea. Could I build? No, not really. I've worked on a building site too, actually, when I was a young lad. I didn't like it, didn't understand what they were doing, and I was in awe of watching people cut a piece of wood that fitted on the next piece of wood. The bricklayers are amazing. Good God. I can't do any of that. That's not for me. So, or would they just be hanging beautiful? Just. You see, that word just again. Yes, more brides would be hanging. There's a place for everybody on this planet, isn't there? And we need a builder. We need a man who's quite happy to work in the sewers. Without him, let's say no more. We need somebody who's a deep thinker. We need somebody who's a bit of an old hippie who can write a few words or splash paint around. You know, that's what we need. We need everybody. Apart from psychos and things like that, you know. If there were more brides, it says here, would they make good builders and handymen? No, nothing would get done. It would be like living in a world of politicians. And then he goes on to say a couple of little bits, so that's nice. And then he cheated, yeah, because he came back after 2 days, I believe, and he said, P.S., another question. Does Bry have any hidden talents? No. I think I've pretty much discussed things on my various channels. I've got 3 channels, one I hardly use, which is called Purple Haze, one which is my art, which is Ishi Art, and then this one, which is obviously the Ramblings of Bry. This is my main channel. So my hidden talents, I think I've played keyboards, not very well, drums, not very well, I play my Indian flute, not very well. I can't really play music, but I enjoy not the process, just the noise, you know. Hidden talents, I suppose my talents really, yeah, it's got to be art and writing and poetry and words. They bring me a lot of pleasure, words do, and so does colours, whether it's this colour or art, or I love being outside with the trees and nature and things like that, but I've got no hidden talents. If I was to say it's a hidden talent, then it's hidden. Over the years, I've worked, I think we know all this anyway really, but I've worked in some schools, colleges, places that they call units, safe places, and working with lots of different people, vulnerable children, vulnerable young adults and all the rest of it. So I suppose my hidden talents is what I bring to those jobs. I can no longer do it for physical reasons. But yeah, my hidden talents is what I could bring to that work, really. Thank you, Sandy. Hello again. I'm just going to have a quick slurp. So while it's boiling hot outside, and it is really, really hot, it's a beautiful day, glorious day, but it's very, very hot, so we're not going walking or bimbling or anything for obvious reasons. But we can talk about a little bit of that to a degree. Hello, Bobo. Are you okay? No, I know you've heard that word. He's heard the word bimbo, and now he thinks we're not. It's too hot to go out. So another question then. We've got Lunar Sunflower 8730 says, do you feel as I do when touching trees? And then she says, happy and life force. Do you mean that I'm happy and it does something to my life force, or do you think that we make trees happy and it does something to their life force? Well, either way round, really. I suppose I do feel happy when I'm in the woods, otherwise I wouldn't be there, I wouldn't be bimbling, I wouldn't be doing what I do. So it is a place that nourishes me, it brings me something. I find that trees do have an energy. That's the life force. They really do have an energy. They are a living, well, not being, but they are a living thing on this planet. They also talk to each other. If I can, I've got a book somewhere. I only got it recently. And do you know what? I have no idea what I did with it. Anyway, The Secret... Don't look at me bum. Don't look at me bum. Did you look at me bum? I hope nobody looked at my bum then. So as you can see, I've only just started this now. This is called The Hidden Life of Trees. Now, trees communicate to each other much the same as humans do, not with words, but with ESP, I suppose, with energy, with kind of some force of nature underground. Their roots may touch each other or get near to each other or whatever, and they communicate by saying, you know, if there's trees over there and they go all the way for a couple of 100 miles and there's terrible weather over there, I'm sure they would tell each other, you know, close yourself down a bit. We've got some rain and hail on the way. So yeah, trees are fantastic. I love being with nature. I love being in the green. I love being with trees. They're just fantastic. So I'm assuming that you're talking about me. Do they make me happy? Clearly, yes. But yeah, the life force, I think you mean, is the life force of the trees, the energy of the trees, yeah. I hug trees. I am a tree hugger. That's sad, isn't it? But do you know what? It's not. I think they are a living thing. And what living thing doesn't like a hug? I like a hug. My dog's a living thing. He likes a hug. So I hug trees. I touch trees a lot. You'll see that in my video. I do touch a tree every now and then, you know, and a lot more when I'm not on video. It's, you know, obviously if I'm holding the camera, it's difficult to be holding the camera and hugging a tree and, you know, what do you do with the camera and all the rest of it. Anyway, whatever. I love being in nature. I love bimbling. It's very, very important to me. It should be important to everybody. I believe that because everything's being taken away from us by ridiculous governments all around the world, and they haven't yet, but they will do at one stage. They will try and tell us where we can go, when we can go there, and that will involve the woods and nature and parks and the rivers and everything. And we've got to use them now. If we don't use those paths, those tracks, those lanes, whatever, if we don't use them now, we're never going to be able to use them because they will just quietly close them off. Well, this path doesn't get used a lot. Might as well take the sign down, just quietly, take the sign down, put a fence over it or whatever. That's what will happen. So if you can get outside, get outside. Now, I've heard that phrase before said by somebody, I can't think who. Thank you very much. Hello indeed. So another Q&A. It's too hot to be outside, so we're indoors today. Who knew September was going to be boiling hot? The time I'm making this is the 7th of the 9th. Okay, so this one is from, let's get closer, there we go, can you see me, hear me, whatever. This one is from Steve and Sherilyn, lovely people. So, question, I assume you meditate to help with sleep. I have ongoing depression and other medical issues too, and one of them is insomnia. Before I get any further, yes, I also have insomnia, Steve. I presume this is Steve, I don't know. Oh yes it is, it says at the bottom. Sorry mate. I assume you meditate to help with sleep. Yes and no really. I meditate to help with life. I meditate to help with every second, whether it be nighttime, daytime, whenever. I meditate to try to alleviate some of my depression, some of my anxiety, some of my panic or disorder. I meditate to make life easier. If I can remain calm and peaceful and settled, then everything is easier, including sleep, including lots of different things. Saying that, I've also had insomnia on and off for over 30 years. It's a long, long time, and I've kind of got used to it in a way, but I'm in a position where I don't work. I can go to bed in the day. I've got a thing possibly called, oh God, what's it called? ME, which is constant tiredness, really. I've got to go back and see the doctor. Anyway, whatever. So I meditate for life, for my life, not just to help with sleep. Although, yeah, it's a good idea. So Steve says, I have ongoing depression. I have other medical issues too. And one of those is insomnia. I've been given different tablets over the years. Oh, so you have tried, good, to help me sleep. And none of them are that good. I agree, mate. I've tried meditation, but can't seem to do it well enough to induce a sleep state. My question is, have you ever had a good sleeping aid drug that worked well for you? If so, what is it? Cheers, Bri, all the best, Steve. To induce sleep, you don't necessarily need a drug. Can you listen to beautiful, quiet, calming music? If you can, it really helps. We've got alpha waves and beta waves in our brain, and the music really settles the way we're feeling and thinking, and the whole body becomes kind of what's it called? Soporific, tired, lackadaisical, you're very nearly asleep just by listening to music. Your brain is very nearly asleep. But that's to get you off to sleep. I mean, it's insomnia, as you know, sometimes you can be sound asleep within 10 minutes of getting into bed and wide awake 10 minutes after, and you're awake all night. But for me, personally, I find music helps. It really helps, because I did see a doctor once, right, just once, about insomnia. And she said, I was only in my 20s, but she said, do you have enough energy to last the day? And I said, well, yeah. I mean, I was at work, right? And I'd be awake nearly all night and then get up in the morning and go to work. So do I have enough energy to last the day? And I said, well, yes, I do. And she said, then don't worry about it. She said, when the body needs to sleep, you will sleep. So maybe you catch up on the weekends. Maybe you have a day off in the middle of the week and go to bed in the afternoon for an hour. Maybe you're a telly watcher and you can put your feet up and just doze in front of Coronation Street. So find your times when you can have just a little nap or whatever, or if not a nap, just a very quiet, calm time where maybe put some headphones on, listen to some quiet music, maybe close your eyes, and if sleep comes to you, that's wonderful. If it doesn't, that's also wonderful. See that fly attacking me? To induce a sleep state without drugs is a nice shower, so you're lovely and clean bedding, because that's always, it just feels lovely. Some nice, calming, gentle, peaceful music, just quietly in the background, or if you've got soft headphones or whatever, pop them in. And just see what happens. The important thing to remember about sleep is we worry that we don't have enough sleep. We've been told, oh, you must have 7 to 10 hours sleep a night. We've been told that over and over and over again. Maybe it's not true. I don't know. Who knows? I think everybody's different. And I know that, is it Winston Churchill, Maggie Thatcher and a few others, they have between 2 and 4 hours a night. So perhaps you're Maggie Thatcher. Sorry, Steve, but maybe you're Maggie Thatcher. Maybe 2 hours a night is perfectly adequate for you. Who knows? Somebody told me, a friend, years and years ago, he said, if you can't sleep, rest. He said, just lay there. Don't get out and start doing stuff, because obviously that tells your body, your brain, everything, I'm wide awake, I'm going to be busy. You know, whereas just resting says, yeah, okay, I'm awake, I don't care. You know, and just rest. He said, don't open your eyes. If you know you're awake, what's the point in opening your eyes? So don't open your eyes and just lay there and rest. And just concentrate on your body, how you feel, how calm it is, how quiet, how dark the room is. You know, you don't open your eyes, but you can see how dark it is through your eyelids, can't you, really? And just accept that you're going to have a few hours, possibly all night, of rest. Some nights you get sleep, some nights you'll get rest, some nights it'll be a bit of both, and does it matter? We make too much deal out of not sleeping. Although if insomnia is impacting in your life, and it sounds like it is because you've seen a doctor on a number of occasions, do go back. They got a thing called sleep hygiene now, and there's also sleep clinics. So ask your doctor. Now, yes, I do use sometimes medication. 2 medications I can introduce you to if you want. I would never personally take anything from the doctor. I take enough, so I don't want any more of their stuff. Anyway, one is Nytol, N-Y-T-O-L, but the original Nytol, not the herby one, you know, not the natural one. It is a chemical, but Nytol, and for me, it worked. For me, they don't all work for people, but yeah, Nytol. And the other one that I take sometimes is just here, and I keep it here. Okay, can you read that? It says Somnipure, and they're time release capsules. They're big capsules. See that there? They are big capsules full of black fluid, and they look a bit weird and what have you, but anyway, you've had a good look at that now, Somnipure. You can pause the video, can't you, if you wanted to look at anything or read anything or whatever. There we go. And there's some facts. Anyway, you can Google this, can't you, Somnipure, before you decide to buy it, and perhaps it'll be a waste of your money. Who knows? The reason why I say that is this works for me. If you take it, it possibly won't work for you. So I can't really recommend anything because I'm not you, Steve. I'm Bri. What works for me, and what works for you, works for you. But you've asked my opinion there. My question is, have you ever had any good sleeping aid drug that worked well for you? If so, what was it? Well, the best thing I ever took was Nytol. This was years and years ago. I was so bloody fed up. I had night after night after night of being awake. You know, now obviously you get bits of sleep because you do function somehow. And it just went on and went on and went on. You can go down what I class as the wrong route. You can have a couple of spliffs before you go to bed. That helps sometimes. You can have a beer or two, or maybe a short, a whiskey or whatever, you know. For me, I don't get into that because, you know, because of my history, my past really. So I don't get into drinking. I do drink the odd can of Guinness every now and then because that's full of iron and it's very good for you. having said that, I really should have a can maybe tonight, because I haven't had a can of that for about 3-4 weeks, and they're in the fridge. They'd be lovely and cold. Yeah, so I don't really get into that, but I got so fed up being awake, constantly awake, that I went to, I think it's Superdrug, years ago, and I bought some Nitol. I'd heard of them, and they got the herbal, which is kind of a green packet, and they got the Nitol normal, original, whatever, which is a kind of blue packet. So I got the blue packet, and I remember I took one. It says take one 20 minutes before you go to bed. I'm not really a stickler on time, so I don't bother with that. But by the time I finish having a wee, sorting myself out, brushing my teeth, maybe having a drink or whatever, then I took my tablet and went to bed. So I probably took it 5 minutes before I went to bed. I've always had music on, always. And as I say, I was living in a mobile home. I was about 20, you know. So I whacked my music on and I laid down. And do you know what? Within about 10 minutes, I could feel this softness within my body. Like, this feels lovely. My back was very loose and calm. And it's like I really needed just to go to sleep. So I closed my eyes and that was it. And I slept like a log. So anytime I took Nitol after that, I had a really, really good sleep. So I can recommend that, I think, although not everything works for you. And lastly, where does insomnia come from? Everybody, you know, maybe you can find a path. Look back, think back. When did this first start? You know, as a child, you slept very well, I take it. You know, as a young man, when you first got married, perhaps, when you, I don't know, whatever. When did this first start and why? How did you try and deal with it? Are you one of these people that lay there, get annoyed and get up and think, oh, well, I'll start wandering around because that's telling your brain something. Oh, I'll wake him up and then you can have a good old wander, you know. Are you drinking too much before you go to bed? Are you eating the wrong food before you go to bed? That sort of thing. You've tried all this, I presume. But if you go to a doctor and you say, do you have a sleep clinic or a sleep hygienist, they call them, strange word, but anyway, whatever. And have a good chat and see if you can find out when this began, the reasons why it began, and why it still impacts your life now. Because things tend to come and go. Depression, as you know, anxiety, things like that, they come and go. And I find sleep disorders as well tend to come and go. I have some terrible nights sometimes, and then I have some good nights sometimes. Hope this helps, Steve. Take good care, and good night. The other thing is, I've got a playlist. So click on my playlists and click on meditations. Maybe play one of them per night. Be well, mate. Hello. So, I was going to make these videos, these question and answer videos, kind of outside when we're on a bit of a bimble. And things change. I'll show you why. I filmed 2 little tiny bits. So for these 2 reasons, it seems now we're going to do the question and answers indoors only for the time being. But anyway, 2 little tiny clips coming up for you. Two days of constant rain. Look at that, eh? Oh well. Nothing we can do about it. I'd like to get out though. I really would. Yep, 2 days. Constant rain. A lot of old crap. Okay, so it's either been too hot to go out or too bloody wet. Right now it's too wet, and the most important thing is my poor little boy hurt his leg. As I'm making this, I don't know what the date is, I've just looked and I can't see it, 12th of September. So for 3 days, there he is, hello love. For 3 days, he's been limping quite bad, but I took him to the vets last night. I thought it was just a twisted leg, twisted muscle. Anyway, it turns out that's exactly what it is. So I've been giving him a massage twice a day, once at night, once in the morning. It seems to have helped a little bit, and he is slightly freer. He did whimper the first couple of times when I give him a massage, but he's over that now, so that's good. So it's obviously healing. The vet couldn't feel that he's got a pulled muscle, and he wasn't acting like he got a pull, but he didn't cry or anything, that's what I mean. However, she said, obviously you know him, and I said, yeah, I do, and I feel that it is a pulled muscle. So she gave me some, I think it's metacame, something like that. It's a liquid. Put it in 17, he weighs 17 kilos, so I'll put it in a little syringe, 17, spray it into his mouth. He's as good as gold. So hopefully that's going to make a big difference. Only started it last night, so first time last night, so second time tonight obviously, and we'll do that until the bottle's used up. But I've been lifting him on and off my bed. He's been wanting to sleep with me, probably because he feels a bit hurt, a bit sad, So I've been lifting him up and down off the bed, which is great, apart from I've then gone and pulled my neck a little bit. But I do see an osteopath, and I do see a deep tissue, I have a deep tissue massage. So anyway, if you want to know all that, here we go. I'll be turning the camera on and off so that I can just clip these together so as not to make them too long. Okay, so I've done a few already when I was out and about. So somebody called this, I've just written these down, so you have to excuse me. I haven't got people's correct names in some places. CJS, if that's you, sorry about that, but CJS says, who has been the biggest influence in my life and why? I try not to hold anybody in massive esteem. However, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh, he died a couple of years ago now, bless him, aged 95. That man is something, I mean he's dead, but he is something special. His energy, his love, his the feeling that he's left on this planet, he is so special, that man. And he should be recognised for being so special as well. He was very, very special in life. He's just very special because he lived on this planet. If you get a chance to read any book by Thich Nhat Hanh, do it. It doesn't matter what book it is, any book, and that will bring some wisdom into you. It'll bring something into your being, into your spirit, into your soul. So many lessons that guy taught. Absolutely wonderful. So the reasons why is because we're so lucky to have had that man live on this planet. And for me to be living on this planet at the same time as that man is kind of like a privilege in a way. So that's Thich Nhat Hanh. I can't really think of anybody else, I suppose everybody's mum is a form, is an influence in their life, but good or bad really, I suppose influences are, so the bad influences, and I've discussed this in videos before, but my miserable dickhead of a father, my miserable dickhead of a stepfather, they were influences because they taught me how not to be. Anyway, that's that. So, he also asked another question. He says, what advice would I give to somebody who is beginning their own spiritual journey? What advice would I give to somebody who's just beginning The only one piece of advice, that's all really, read everything. Don't make up your mind on anything really, just be open. It doesn't matter whether you read stuff by Sadhguru, does it, or Muji, or Eckhart Tolle, or Thich Nhat Hanh, or the Ramblings of Bright. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you watch. It doesn't matter who you listen to. Just take it all in, and things will work or they won't work. And just allow things to be. And don't get too hooked up on things, you know, like, oh, I must meditate twice a day and wear robes and sit this way and do this and do that. Do it your way. Find your way through, because your spiritual journey is yours. The spiritual journey is about you, not about the Ramblings of Brian, not about Thich Nhat Hanh, not about other people. It's about you. So you will find your way through. But by taking a lot of stuff in, and not crazy fast, just do it in your own time. By taking all that stuff in nice and slow, you will work out your path, where you want to go, how you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, what do you hope that it's going to bring to your life. That's the one piece of advice, really. Take it all in. Thank you, CJS. Peg. My lovely friend Peg from, is that the next page, from the USA? Yeah. And she says, do I use clippers or a razor on my head? Well, I have shaved it off sometimes. I don't like it. It sticks to my pillow like bloody Velcro. So I use clippers, electric clippers, just on the very lowest setting, you know, with no guard on, and I just bzz, like that, so it's nice and tight to my head. You know, that's how long it is at the moment. There we go. So it's mostly very short. Oddly, I can feel it when it gets just over my ears like that. After about 10 days, a week to 10 days, then it has to go again. So electric clippers, plug them in, buzz it off, and we're about done really. But as I say, I have tried shaving, proper wet shaver, didn't like it. And she also says, how long ago did I start growing the big beard? Do you know, that's interesting really. I've always had, or nearly always had, I think I've always had facial hair. Probably since I was 16, 17, I've always had some facial hair. So it's been a continuum, if we like, really. But growing the big beard, the whole full face, because I had a goatee for years, I had a little strip here, I had a moustache, just a moustache at one stage. God knows why, I don't like them, but there you go. I think what it was, when I retired, I thought, oh, sod shaving, you know. I had to shave. I felt fairly compelled to shave because of what I was doing. And I was teaching for many years, and that involved things like sometimes dealing with the police, or dealing with other outside sort of agencies, and maybe social services or Ofsted or whatever. Psychologist and speech language therapist. It went on and went on really. So I felt compelled really to be a certain way, look a certain way to a degree. I still wore whatever I wanted to, but you know. So when I actually retired properly, I just gave up shaving, and that was it. However, during the time of the big beard, the time of the 2014 onwards, so probably 10 years really, I've had a big beard. That answers that question. However, a couple of times during that 10 years, I have trimmed it right down, or trimmed it quite a lot, or I even shaved it once. I shaved my sides completely, so I just had a goatee just for about 3 months, 4 months. Got bored of that, and I thought, oh sod it, just grow the whole thing again. Yeah, recently had a trim and stuff like that, so it's looking pretty dapper. I don't really mind how it looks. I'm not into shaving. You know, if you're a man, you're going to grow a beard. You know, you don't need to shave, in my view. If you want to shave, shave. But the thought of standing there, scraping my skin with a piece of metal every single day, I've got better things to do in life. I really have. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off because I think my little friend needs a wee. Yes, I was right. My little dog needed a quick wee. So whoever the last person was, she was saying, why are you so beautiful? And I was saying, I just am. Anyway, cheers. I'm going to mark these as done. Because I don't want to be reading them all again. Okay. So that was Peg asked a question. That's it. Oh, do you know what? I didn't write down my friend. Or did I already record it? Let's have a look. No, I've already recorded that. Oh, I am doing well. You don't know what I'm talking about. Snodger Bill says, I have seen you wear a Meloria. Nobody can say it. Let me show you. Oh dear. Okay. There we go. How's that looking? So, because I can't say it, Mjolnir, I believe it's called Mjolnir, is a Thor's hammer. This is called a Thor's hammer. So Snodger Bill says, I have seen you on occasion wearing a Mjolnir. Any spiritual reason for that? Not really, I just love it. I do like it. I can't remember, but I read years and years ago about Thor's hammer. I like the yin-yang aspect of it because a lot of things in life are two things, can be two things. And I don't know about this at all, but I did read about 10 or 20 years ago. Obviously, Thor's hammer, Thor, the hammer is the strength, maybe a symbol of war or energy or power. But the yin-yang side, it's always got another side, and the other side of it is something like it contains a wisdom, a knowingness, and intelligence, and I like that. I like the fact that it can contain the both. No real significance in spirituality or any other reason, but I just like it, and I like the fact that the wolves are holding the Thor's hammer or the Mjolnir. I know. But anyway, Snodger Bill, thank you very much. Now my friend the Wiltshire man has snuck back on. He did, he snuck back on, and he says, what bikes did you used to own? Sandy, loads. I think I had something like 17 bikes in maybe a 10 or 12 year period, something like that. I was very, very lucky, really blessed, I suppose. I bought a Kawasaki KH100 G4, I believe. I bought that brand new, and that was lovely, but I wanted to pass my test and get something bigger. So anyway, I passed my test first time, so that's where I was blessed, really. And I got a X7, Suzuki X7. A lot of youngsters, and I was young, killed themselves, sadly, on an X7. It was so powerful. And I know what they mean. As soon as you open up the throttle, you could lift the wheel so easily. But I love my X7. But I just wanted a different bike, and then a different one, and a different one. I got a 400. I had a Honda 400. I can't remember what that was at all. I had a Kawasaki Z1000. I think it was just a Z1000, I think. or was it KHZ1000? Don't know. This was many years ago, probably early 80s, something like that. I had a big Suzuki as well, and I can't remember what that was. I had lots of bikes, so you have to forgive me, I just can't remember. But anyway, I enjoyed my time on bikes. I think what happens with most people is when you're single, it's a lot of fun, or when you're older and settled, it's a lot of fun. But that time between there and there, you end up, you're getting into relationships, or you're buying your home, or you're working in a certain job where perhaps you want to arrive in a car. A car makes more sense, particularly if you're married and you've got a couple of kids, or you want to go on holiday or whatever. To have a car, you can go and pick up a fridge, or you can do a tip run, or shopping is easier. You can shop once a month, and it goes on and goes on, really, as you know. So he's asked that, but he also says, what would I ride if I came back to motorcycling? Well, do you know what? If I did, and I wouldn't, but if I really wouldn't now. If I did, I'd get a big old tourer. That's what I'd do. And, like you, I'd get a big old tourer, and I'd whack a tent on the back or wherever, and bugger off and explore. That's what I would do. When I decided to buy a motorhome, going off tact, but when I decided to buy a motorhome, I wanted to be a travelling traveller. That's what I wanted to be. Which sounds ridiculous as travelling traveller. I know so many travellers that either stay in one place, or they got like 2 or 3 park-ups. So maybe one is, I don't know, the edge of a town, one is at the coast, and one is in the woods. And then they just do that forevermore. I don't really think that's travelling. I think travelling for me was exploring. So I went as far as Scotland, down to Dorset, Devon, Cornwall, across to like Wales and Preston and Cumbria. I loved, and then the other side was Norfolk and wherever. So I went all over and all between all the other places that you could mention, really. So I loved all that. So if I was to get another bike, I would do similar. I'd keep my bricks because I loves being warm, settled, comfortable. But if I had a tourer, I would go for something like you've got, the V-Strom. Something like that. I think it's a biggish bike. It's not too big and it's not too small, but it's perfect. You could trickle along at 50 or 60 mile an hour, and it's literally trickling. A bike like that, wonderful. For me, I don't have any allegiance. I've had Suzuki, Honda, Kawasaki, and a couple of others. I used to like the Kawasaki's quite a lot, but I have no allegiance to anybody, anything. I do like, there's a sound with a Honda that's slightly reminiscent to me of something like a Harley Davidson. It's got there's a deeper thud in the engine. Anyway, whatever, I don't know. A V-Strom, we'll say a V-Strom, something like that, a tourer. And we do one last one for now. Now, my friend Martin, who's known as Wicker Man, says, what prompted me to start this YouTube channel, The Ramblings of Bry? And he also said, I do remember this, he said, do you still have the first ever video? I do have the first video somewhere. I have a number of videos really saved. The reason why I started it was just a record, really. As I say, I wanted to be a travelling traveller. So I literally I thought I would just do a video for myself. I did speak about this, so I'll cut it down a lot, really. What it was, I made a video, number 1 video, and I just showed me motorhome, showed me dog, and had a little chat. And I didn't like the video, and it was just rubbish, really. So anyway, I made another one. I just sat in the garden and I was saying about what my hopes and dreams are going to be with my life moving on. That was about that. I then made another one where I was a little bit more personal, and I said the reason why I had to give up work. But looking at the brighter side, I've bought this lovely motorhome, and you know, I'm going to go here, there and everywhere, basically, you know. And I just spoke about where I might go, what I might see. It was all guesswork at the time, really, but I was really happy, really excited. Anyway, I watched all these videos back. I didn't like any of them, so that's fine. And my nephew came round one time, and he said, you know, can I watch them videos? Because I spoke on the phone about it, and he said, can I watch those videos? And I said, well, they're crap. Anyway, we sat and watched these videos. They were just like a 2-minute video, each video, so maybe 6 or 8 minutes, something like that. And we watched them, and he said, you should put these on YouTube. And I said, no. And he said, they're really good. He said, you come across really, really well. And I said, do you think? I didn't see it, but he said, yeah. He said, it's something different as well, you know. Anyway, I thought about it, and I looked for English or British or UK travellers that were doing YouTube channels at the time. Couldn't find any. At that time, I could not find any. And every time I looked, for a number of weeks, it was Americans. And I thought, well, maybe it is an idea. Of course, there was loads of travellers in the UK, but not doing a regular YouTube video. And I thought, maybe is it on something? Maybe I should do that. But I didn't want to just do about travelling. I mean, it's lovely. But what happens if one day I stop travelling? What happens if I can't film in a certain area for a certain reason? Don't know what that reason would be, but what if the weather's really bad for 6 months? You know, I would like to talk about other things. So I chose the name eventually. It was The Ramblings of Bry, which I've stuck with, you know. So yeah, that's it really. It was really for my record of where I went, how I felt about it. Just a record of what happened in my life, you know, much the same as anybody might keep a diary or whatever. Yeah, that was it really. I mean, it wasn't any more than that. To make the videos, I decided that I would release them, and not those ones, but I just made my first one then after about 3 or 4, sat in my mum's garden and turned the camera on. I felt a bit nervous. It's weird, you know. And I thought, I'm not going to do this big intro and big outro like people do. I will never beg. I will never say like and subscribe and share and pay me money. I'm not going to get into all that nonsense. You know, I keep the channel, or try and keep the channel fairly small, fairly manageable. So that's what I've done really over the time. But because I was a bit nervous, when I turned the camera on, and instead of saying, and I can say it, hello, I said something like, hello, something like that. So it just become hello. It just become my hello. You know, my start, my intro is one word, hello. The outro is 2 words, be well. That's it. That's all you need. You don't need la 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 la. You don't need all that. It's a YouTube channel, not a television. There's nothing wrong with doing that if that's your channel and that's what you want to do. For me, didn't want to do it, so didn't bother. Always kept the channel very small, always will. If you want to watch a video, you will. If you find me, you will. If you don't, you don't. That's it, really. You know, let's keep it. It's like life, isn't it? You know, being a traveller, being a YouTuber, being me, being bright. It's like you're coming into my life. I couldn't manage with, you know, 1 million people in my life. So, yeah, a few people. And what happens there is, you know, I might put out a video. This video might get maybe 300 views, 400 views even, who knows. And out of that, maybe 5 people or 10 people might say, nice video, Bri. Well, I can then converse with them and say, well, thanks for watching. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, or whatever. If I got 1 million people watching this, well, if that was the case, I'd close the channel down, because it's not an intimate chat between me and you, which it is right now. But if I got 1 million people and, I don't know, thousands of people sent a little comment in, I wouldn't bother responding to any of them. Who wants to sit for, say, 8 hours responding? Nobody. So, anyway, that's that really. But yeah, for my records, but also just because it was a slightly niche market, I couldn't at that time find another UK traveller. Not a UK full-time traveller. I couldn't find it. And then my friend Jules, bless him, started to make videos, and then others really leapt up. But it's all good. Anyway, thank you. Take care. And my outro, be well.